American family has to struggle to do is not acceptable to me.
Right.
And because I have a platform, I want to do something to change it. And I think the people who get involved in an event, realize they're making a difference, want to keep doing. It's like mainlining happiness. I just keep mainlining happiness into my arm, and I just service work, service work, service work. And I would like to just add one more thing to that. There are a lot of things going on in this world, you know, climate crisis, international, lots of things we can pay attention to. I got to tell you, hungry children is not okay with me. It's just not okay. And until we solve that problem, I don't want to move on to any of the others. I want children, I mean, look, 1 in 6 children in America don't know where their next meal is coming from. A bigger number than that is food insecure. So it costs about $17 billion a year to feed them 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year out of schools, if they so choose to do it, taking food home. Schools are a distribution center, right? Part of that money is to put equipment back in schools to do some cooking, right? Something that Gen Youth, who does Taste of the NFL,
right,
actually does, puts equipment back in schools so they can increase their throughput on food. That $17 billion is 0.0027% of our federal budget. It's a rounding error. We have the skill to feed kids. We lack the political will. So, you know, screw Washington. Let's do it municipality by municipality, state by state, and do it the way Gen Youth does, with public-private partnerships. I mean, Gen Youth is a nonprofit. We work with, you know, Frito-Lay, Quaker, the PepsiCo Foundation. God bless them for helping us and stepping up and giving us big money so that we can really put on this event and put all the dollars raised towards feeding kids.
Let me ask you this question away from Taste of the NFL.
Yes.
When all of you chefs do your competitions, okay, and
yes,
I know how serious it is.
Yes.
We were in a pickleball thing last night, and,
yes,
and I literally wanted to kill my producer so bad, which I was victorious. How do you guys, when you compete against each other, you're always smiling, but I know deep down inside it's about winning.
Deep hatred.
Okay.
And you put aside, I mean, I have friends, one of whom is going to be one of my oldest friends, Tim Love, an incredible chef, has like 20 restaurants in Texas, has a big roadhouse, one of the best music venues in Fort Worth is his. I've held his 2 daughters and his son played for the University of Texas, linebacker. I've held that monstrous child as a baby in my arms, okay? But when we are at the event, and it's not even a competition, I know he wants more people to like his food than like my food, and vice versa. And at least with us, there's an element of friendliness. If there's another chef who I'm on a hey, how you doing basis, like I've not held their children, I will drill them into the ground when they're not looking. It's like come hell or high water, if there's tokens going into a basket, I will tell people everyone else's food is no good. Stick your coin in my bag. Whatever it is, we're very, very competitive people.
So talk about...
We work too hard.
Right. Talk about some of the other chefs that will be out there on Saturday.
Carla Hall, Mark Butcher, Lashita Perry, Todd English and his daughter Belle, Lorena Garcia, Mark Vetra. I mean, I could go on and on. Local chefs, international superstars. And by the way, a huge shout out to some of the big food companies that are bringing their corporate chefs and executing some really cool stuff, right? Hellmann's is a sponsor. They bring in a whole crew. They do all this huge array of dips using Hellmann's mayonnaise. Now, everyone may say, well, you know, I'm paying money in an event for that. Yeah, you are, because the money is going to children's to fight hunger, right? And
right.
Hellmann's, everyone uses Hellmann's in their dips, right? Unless
Sure.
you live in the deep south, then you're using Dukes. I like both.
No, well,
I
use Hellmann's in my tuna and everything.
I'm an equal opportunity mayonnaise guy.
For sure.
But the fact of the matter is that we have something for everybody. It's really cool, and it makes it a real star-studded event. It's a lot of fun.
We're talking about the Taste of the NFL. Gen Youth is benefiting, but we can stand up. We can help Gen Youth year-round.
Well, they work 365 days a year, tasteofthenfl.com, and it would be great if people want to donate. Not everybody is able to. Even more important, if you see something you like, or go to andrewzimmern.com. My partners page has stuff for Gen Youth and all the other hunger relief organizations I work for. Cut and paste something and send it to everyone in your mailing list, right? I mean, that's what's really most important, is awareness raising, right? I mean,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to let people know that hunger is a problem, and the stigma of hunger. There are people in this room who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Statistically, there's actually a lot of people in this room, but nobody raises their hand and jumps up and down and says, "I'm feeding my kids 3 meals a day, and I'm only eating 2." Right? Because we don't have enough money this month, or we ran out. And statistically, those are often dual income families, right? We have not kept up with the prices of food. Because of a climate crisis and a lot of other reasons, the price of food is skyrocketing. We have to get our arms around hunger in America, and what better place to start than with student hunger?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of students, my daughter and soon-to-be son-in-law, both master's degrees, working their butts off, in same situation.
That's exactly right.
Do they pay bills, or do they go try to have something to eat today?
That's exactly right. And to me, that's hunger. And the reason it's important, and I'm glad you mentioned this, is that even people who look very complete in other areas of their lives, if they're lacking nutrition, they're more tired, their outcomes are less successful. They'll have more visits to the emergency room, put stress on our healthcare system. So we're paying for it as taxpayers. Much better that we solve the food problem. You are what you eat, right? I mean, we talked about this before. I mean, you're an athlete, right? What you put in your system is absolutely crucial. And if you don't put the right stuff in there, your performance, right, is less. Your recovery time from injury is more problematic. You don't get as much out of a training day in the gym, right?
Sure. And if you remember, I'm the guy who did it with pizza.
That's
to
right.
illustrate a point to lift up the industry.
That's exactly
to change
right.
the stigma of we sell a junk food, but no, let's respect the craft.
That's right.
And let's show people how to eat it responsibly.
That's exactly right.
So it's education and
really, really important. You know, food is the answer to so many problems, and I think we need to start to recognize that. So I'm so grateful that every year you allow me to come on here and rant about this to your listeners, because I think more people need to understand that this is the fight that we're in. Go to tasteofthenfl.com. You know, Gen Youth's info is all there. Spread the awareness. AndrewZimmern.com. Tons of stuff there, as well as game day recipes. No paywall. And yeah, I mean, let's have fun Saturday at the big party with a purpose.
Absolutely. So tickets still are available.
There are a couple
Limited.
There are a couple available. I think Ticketmaster may still have some, but you can find out by going to tasteofthenfl.com. Please, please, please help us end student hunger today.
Before we let you go, real quickly, talk about your podcast.
Well, we have on my Substack, if you go to AndrewZimmern.com, subscribe to my Substack. We do a really fun half hour of Ask Me Anything that is expanding. We're bringing back Go Fork Yourself, which was my podcast that died because my TV career got a little too busy. We're bringing it back on our Substack, and it's going to be an hour every week of food hilarity and issues and me saying things that my agents and managers cringe when they hear. So if you want controversy,
love it.
Subscribe to Spilled Milk. Just go to AndrewZimmern.com.
And we can even use that line on FCC radio, too.
No, absolutely. Go fork yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to be careful, because you know something? Forking leads to spooning.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Feel free to steal that.
So I have a professional question for you.
Yes.
So you mentioned the fight, the NFL. Down in Tampa, we have the food fight, Tampa versus St. Pete. Amazing, extraordinary restaurants. The chefs come together. Hosted by Titus O'Neil and other celebrities in the area. So here's my question. My buddy owns a hot honey company. And I love the flavor. I love supporting my friends.
Too. I love hot honey.
But as a professional chef, when is it timing to add your own condiments or flavor after they've created this amazing dish? At what point do you taste it first? No, then you add your personal
I would like people to taste my food first, and not just dump
salt,
a bunch of hot sauce
before they
taste it, right? Because I think they're making a mistake, because they may like it the way it is, just for themselves. It's not an insult to me. As a chef, and I really believe this, the minute I put it on the plate and slide it out of my hand's reach, whether it's to my family or to a paying customer, I'm done with it. It's now not my experience anymore. It's your experience. Now, I would suggest you taste it first, right? But nothing pisses me off more, I mean, even in a 3-star Michelin restaurant, than going somewhere and seeing that they don't have salt and pepper on the table. And I know why, because the chef thinks he's seasoned everything. You know, sometimes people make a mistake. I want to taste the food and then judge if I want to put something on. I put hot. You want to know what's great? Take cheesecake, Bass cheesecake, which is very popular, the burnt cheesecake. Dump hot honey on it. It's absolutely out of control. Absolutely out of control.
Probably the worst thing of this whole interview is Andrew telling you that was a good question. But it is what it is.
Well, by your standards, absolutely.
Well, no, you said it was a good question. Great.
I
Andrew,
love you guys.
as always,
Awesome.
thank you very much for your time. I know you got to go. Let's go hit a quick break. Coming to you live from Radio Row.